coaching staff working on them as well. So they're doing great at Sydney Division as well. So 324, not bad at all.
All right, we are rocking and rolling again. Event number 532. Field size getting a little smaller. We get a recall as a runner goes down in the first, just under 100 meters, and this one might need more attention than some of the other athletes.
Yes. This when you see this, the other three runners right now are just like in disbelief. We hate to see this at the track meet.
All right, another look. The runner goes down some. Again, just within that first 100 meters, able to recall, and the yellow flag. We're going to have a pause for the injured athlete and the other competitors, hoping all is well as we are, but also trying to recalibrate and again get ready for their race to continue.
That's a scratch right there. I can tell you from now, because we see the wheelchair on the track. Not a good sign at all. That's a track ambulance. So the track ambulance on the track, not looking good right now for the other three. Well, let's talk about the injured athlete right now. He's wheeled off right now. So that's a scratch right there. A late non-starter. That's an LNS.
And they will bring the rest of the teams back. So how do you communicate, again, with your athletes when dealing with a situation like this, when presented with this, when there's been a pause in the competition, and how really just to refocus? You do have to talk about that, I know, during your coaching time with athletes.
Well, with an injury of such right now, with the team scratch, it's just not much to say, but just to say this tough luck. You know, it could have gone either way. So it's not much you can say when the team scratch. Because
but the other teams, I'm saying, how they refocus, they need to recalibrate.
Not too much of a delay for them too much. Because as athletes, it's common to go, to and from the start. It's not like horses that they break from the gate and to reload, bring them back again. It's different. Athletes,
true,
they to and from all the time. It's okay.
All right, now, oh my goodness. Once is unfortunate, twice is definitely not something we like to see. And then field size isn't an issue in this situation, Sean. Let's see. Oh, he tried to move left to right and definitely got caught up, wasn't aware of the traffic behind him, and took a hard roll.
Well, I'll tell you right now, this start leg boys right now, we're going to see a 48 handoff because they're moving. It's a very competitive group and they're tightly bunched. So we're going to see a 48 handoff maybe here.
All right, as event number 532, still waiting to get this one rolling, and we're going to switch out. So we have a different leadoff runner. Interesting that the team would think of that. Would you have made a similar switch, Sean? Possibly switcher again with handoffs aren't as critical as obviously in the 4x1. You couldn't have done this if something happened and an athlete was shaken up briefly.
Yes, you want to give them a little time to breathe in between them, just to recoup. The recouping is important, and the mental part of it.
And they've already had 2 attempts at getting this race underway. Now number 3.
So we've seen Element out in 1, right? And Element has a tough team right here. So let's see what they do from here on.
So we are at 9 teams on the oval, and thankfully through that first 100+ meters, we are in it for the entire duration. 4x4 relay.
It's not so much of a crowded team right here, but as I said earlier, I was thinking that they'll be going much faster. Look, they're still having difficulties on track, and because of they're on the same, if you ask me, pace running. Their competitiveness is like on the same. Yeah, the field is definitely not stretched out. Still, they're going 3 wide already coming out of the turn, not just to get a good eye at the outgoing runner. Oh, the team, they finally found their runner. To your point that you mentioned time and time again, he thought he was going to be
down closer to the rail, and they were out 5th, 6th because he made that big run in the final 150.
That's the biggest mistake I think track and field may have made in the rules, because too much problems. We've seen it at a professional level. A lot of DQ is going to happen because of that, and it's sad. But it's a rule, and we have to abide by the rules and regulations.
Watchung Hills from New Jersey was the first one through the zone at 52.11. To Sean's point, we had
Elmond went down right there. Wow.
You just really
Elmond running there.
Can't take your eyes off this race. As a new leader, St. George's from Jamaica. And so much going on in this race as the team that is Watchung Hills, again, was one of the squads that was affected by those recalled starts. They switched their order, put another leadoff runner in effect, and they are now in the number 3 position.
So St. George's right now, the Jamaica right now is on the lead. And about a meter or two. Is that Warwick Valley right there in Chase?
Yes.
Right, and a distance to Watchung Hills. So St. George's, the fresh challenge coming from Warwick right now. So it's Warwick Valley.
Warwick Valley from New York State. Beatty, Gonzalez, Conley, and DeSimone. And it is the anchors waiting on the baton. Stride shortening, trying to get to the line and pass the stick, and he did it 2:33 and change. But here comes St. George's from Jamaica.
Well, the St. George's athlete on the ankle leg bouncing so smooth. And looking good at this point. You know, it's pure speed Jamaica, so let's see his endurance from here on, because he's a high knees in right now. Look at him. Very confident right now.
49.5, and the crowd is getting into it, as you would expect. A 49.5 second leg brought St. George's back into the picture to potentially pull out a victory in event number 532. St. George's and Warwick Valley from New York. Who's got enough fuel left in the tank? It looks like it's going to be Warwick Valley holding on for dear life and the win.
Well, again, it just shows from here when we saw the mechanics is the sustaining of the mechanics, the endurance of the mechanics. Because once you apply the mechanics, make sure you have the endurance to follow